As the economic climate worsens, it would be advisable to take unconventional paths and think outside the box. When you do that, you'll quickly realize there are multiple ways to make money from home. Content monetization is one of the most in-demand skills in Kenya today, and many companies are taking their business online and need help generating leads and connecting with customers. As the world observes Social Media Day today, we guide you on how to use the internet and social media to grow your business or somebody else's business. With me in studio is Mike Otieno. He's the co-founder of Wowzi. Wowzi has created over 150,000 dignified gig jobs for Kenyan youth in the marketing space and remains committed to building up the next generation of Kenyan creators. Many thanks for joining us, Mike. Thank you so much for being with us today, and good stuff with Wowzi. Wowzi is a COVID baby, so 3 years in existence?
Yes, we are a COVID baby, and just as I said, technology has ways of accelerating and also transforming lives. And that's exactly the same thing we've seen over the last couple of years, where, as you've mentioned, the platform has attracted over 150,000 youth. We've attracted some of the biggest global brands, all of them meeting together to create opportunity. So,
I mean, attracting over 150,000 youth means that there is a gap and there's thirst and hunger to make either extra income or an income.
Precisely, and if you think about it a different way, the young people have the mobile phone, which is now the tool that they can use to be able to access different opportunities. They have access to the internet, and thanks to a lot of infrastructural investment, anywhere in the country you can be able to access internet. So with that together, what platforms such as Wowzi are helping the young people is just to figure out how do you leverage what you already have? How do you make use of it? So instead of spending time, misusing social media, as it were, could you actually monetize and make money out of it? So
yeah, and I like that you said that, because most trends show, extravagant lifestyle, fashion, clothing. So how to successfully translate your content into a money-adding venture?
Yeah. So if you think about how this industry has evolved, it started off with the Kardashians, where there was a massive wave of influencers, where you needed to have millions of followers. But that has since changed, where the space is democratizing more and more brands are using an influencer mix. So while, yes, you might have the big celebrities, you also want to include the micros and the nanos in your campaigns. As it were, 83% of Wowzi's income is going to the nano and micro, so you can see the shift in terms of opportunity growing.
So bigger numbers in terms of following does not necessarily translate to better consumer engagement.
Yes, so there's two things. The internet works because of trust, and what you find is the lower the followership, the higher the trust, because it's you and your friends. It's your friends, it's your family, and it's your peers. So when you talk to them and tell them something, they'll listen. And at the same time, when you look at the engagement levels, they're much higher the lower you go. So a lot of the brands are starting to leverage this. And again, at the lower level, you're able to find what we call niche communities. So if it's a makeup brand, there is definitely a lady who goes online and shows her friends how to create makeup. You'll find a lot of beauty brands wanting to jump onto that opportunity. So yes, you're right.
And in terms of platforms, because we've got Facebook, we've got TikTok, we've got Instagram, there's Twitter. In terms of how to choose a platform that is best suited for your content and that will, essentially then generate money for you, income for you.
So what we're seeing is an interesting trend, and it's really driven by demography. So the younger folk are primarily on TikTok, and TikTok is growing like crazy. So you're seeing a lot of people who are targeting Gen Z naturally veering off towards TikTok. But at the same time, if you're selling a serious sounding businessy brand, then you probably want to be on LinkedIn. So it's less about where you are. It's more about what authentically drives your own content and which platform is optimized for that. Obviously, TikTok is optimized for short video, but today, if Lillian wanted to create a show, maybe you want to go to YouTube because it's more long form, and each platform has its own pros and cons. And depending on where you want to take your content, platforms such as ours are integrated with all of them, so we are able to then guide you on where to grow.
Yeah, in terms of standing out, because the industry is day by day getting saturated. So what makes a content creator stand out? What then would attract a brand in the way of that particular content creator?
The biggest thing for, it's not even followership, interestingly. It's the quality of the content itself and the authenticity. So the more authentic guys who are themselves and expressing themselves in whichever way, whether it's through lifestyle or through comedy or skits, which are coming like authentically from them, those do very well. But the thing that cuts across for everyone is the quality of the content. So what you're seeing is, if we were a group of content creators here, there's always that one person with the right phone, and everybody's using it. But also we are seeing the young content creators moving forward to also invest in equipment. Recently, we saw a lot of them starting to buy Canon cameras. So they're going the next level. So from your phone to the next level of equipment to enable them to create better content.
Right, and the issue of capital is always a challenge for every entrepreneur, everybody who wants to start up a business. So similarly, does then this mean that because of the quality, then that the investment would have to be large, the capital to start off would have to be immense?
Not really, because say 90% of them can be able to earn based on the fund they have. But it's just a question of, like anything in life, how do you grow to the next level? How do you build yourself up? One variable is the kind of equipment you use. Interestingly, we've been working with different financiers to build out, buy now, pay later models on the Wowzi platform, so that the same content creators can get access to the equipment. Then over time, as they are still earning on the platform, we draw it down. So those are like unique ways where guys are able to also benefit by not having to have all the capital up front.
Now, ethical considerations in terms of content monetization when you talk about data privacy, transparency.
One of the most interesting ethical considerations I've seen is just, what gig do you take and what don't you take? For instance, I know a content creator who, they make their money by, so they actually, they get fit through going to the gym, but, these big brands come and say, can you post about how this tea made you slim, right? So those are the type of ethical considerations I'm seeing, where it's more, are you actually telling people about what you love? If it's makeup, is it actually something you use? Versus, are you doing it for the money?
Yeah, and that's the authenticity.
We're finding the authenticity coming into play, and we're encouraging the content creators to be like, hey, be ethical, choose wisely, think long term rather than, just making that quick buck.
Yeah, and as we close, Mike, I see a lot of content creators flooding their pages with different pages, with different brands, affiliating themselves with different products. Is that a wise move? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about monetizing your content.
Yes.
So the direction where you have somebody posting about this today, tomorrow about this, tomorrow. So your page is literally a platform where we see that you're doing very well in terms of monetizing your content. But how wise is this for any content creator that is starting to build their brand and heading in that way? Yeah,
so what we've seen is it's a two-way traffic. So we're educating the brands as well to encourage them to engage in more long-term engagements, because the reason everybody's running around for the next gig is the brands you love are not engaging you long-term. So that's something we are talking to the brands about and showing them the metrics of long-term engagement with content creators. On the flip side, we are working with content creators to help them appreciate how different brands fit in their lives. So if you have a beverage brand, it's okay to have a telco, it's okay to have a beauty brand. So if you have it in different categories, it's okay. What's wrong is competing brands, and today you're talking about X, tomorrow you're talking about Y. Your followers already will be like, this one is just doing it for the money, as opposed to educating us and giving us information that we need. So,
right.
Yeah, there are tactics to it.
Right, and as we close, Mike, to that budding content creator who, I mean, in this harsh economic times has looked for a job. There are no jobs out there. 3 successful tips that will guide them in the right direction.
I think number 1 is join social media. I remember we were working with farmers in Moranga and they were not on social. So we helped them to actually join and start building their following. Some of them are even now selling their goods online. So I think 1 is demystify the whole idea that social is for your kids and for the younger generation. It's for everyone, and everybody can find something to benefit. So once you're there, it's about finding a niche. Are you talking lifestyle? Are you a foodie? Do you just love to cook? Because if you love to cook, then there's tons of oil brands that can work with you. If you like to travel, there's a lot of travel brands. If you like beauty, there's a lot of beauty brands. So find your niche and stay with it. The world's most followed individual never said a word. Kabilem, he just does his hands. And once you find that niche, you are able to grow. So yeah, those would be my tips.
Many thanks. Mike Otieno is the co-founder of Wowzi. Wowzi is a COVID baby and has done phenomenally well for the youth in this country and beyond. Check them out. And very many thanks for joining us in studio.
Thank you, Lillian. Much appreciated.